Imagine. Imagine if we could create technologies enabling us to quickly respond to or prevent a biological or chemical attack, eliminating the threat of the worst chemical and biological agents, anthrax, smallpox, Sarin, Ebola. Imagine if these technologies could save the lives of the men and women of our armed forces, but also of people around the world. This isn't a hope, it's a reality. At DTRA, we are developing these technologies as we speak. We lead DoD science and technology to anticipate, defend, and safeguard against chemical and biological threats. At DTRA CB, we're making the world a safer place. Our strategy and investments are built around 4 objectives. Shape. We shape the battlefield by detecting threats and proactively addressing and predicting risks affecting the warfighter, enabling effective decision-making and managing the threats. Shield. Our technologies protect the warfighter against exposure and effects so they can maintain their combat effectiveness. Sense. We develop faster means to enable detection, identification, characterization, and quantification of hazards, reducing the risks and responding quickly and more effectively. Sustain. We develop new ways to treat personnel and equipment who have been exposed to chem-bio threats and decontaminate equipment in areas to enable rapid recovery of combat power. This comprehensive strategy is paying real dividends for the United States, today, now, and in the future. We are on the front lines in the fight against Ebola, providing isolation booths used to airlift patients out of an area, developing assays to better diagnose the disease, researching novel vaccines and therapeutics to prevent and treat the disease. We are further developing EDGE to protect warfighters. EDGE is a fast, easy-to-use genomic analysis tool that quickly identifies biological threats to our forces in the field. These field-deployable genetic sequencers puts answers where the threats are. EDGE makes our response to a threat faster, more efficient, and more effective. We are developing the next generation technologies to detect and protect from scores of other threats. Our biosurveillance ecosystem makes predicting and forecasting disease outbreaks similar to a meteorologist predicting and forecasting the weather. BSVE provides warfighters and our national leaders with real-time early warning of biological threats, making a debilitating attack that seems to come from nowhere much less likely. We are leading our government's efforts to develop wearable technologies to protect warfighters. A suite of wear-and-forget sensors that provide warning of exposure to a chemical or biological threat 24 to 48 hours before symptoms appear. These small, innocuous devices continuously monitor a warfighter's exposure to chemical or biological threats, maintaining force strength through force protection. At the same time, our Razor robots enable troops to remotely and safely deploy chem-bio sensors. These robots were designed for the battlefield, but were invaluable in the aftermath of the Fukushima nuclear power plant disaster in Japan. Today's chem-bio suits are heavy, hot, and cumbersome. We are developing Second Skin, an everyday uniform made from novel, dynamic, multifunctional materials that are fully integrated at the molecular level. This integration allows the suit to provide protection against chemical and biological threats while adapting to optimize thermal burden, ultimately making the warfighter safer and more combat effective. DTRA. We're innovation-driven. Our technologies are advancing the boundaries of science and technology. We're performance-driven. We measure results and invest in what works. We're warfighter-driven. Our primary responsibility is protecting the men and women of our armed forces. We're synergy-driven. In the tradition of penicillin and the internet, our military technologies are also improving civilian lives, driving economic growth, and advancing science and understanding. Solving these types of challenges requires the brightest minds and the most advanced science and technology. Imagine Imagine being part of this mission.